Harel Shaked from Outbrain. He's a technical project manager from one of my favorite customers, and Outbrain is the global leader in content marketing. Harel's going to talk to us about how Outbrain is leveraging the DocuSign for Salesforce platform and the benefits they are seeing from doing so. At the end of the webinar, we will address some questions from the audience. So as Titus mentioned, please just enter your questions into the chat window in the bottom right corner of the WebEx screen. So now let's get started. For those of you who aren't familiar with DocuSign, DocuSign is a solution that enables business transactions to be completed digitally, and the electronic signature is just one piece of that whole solution. Oftentimes people believe that all DocuSign does is electronic signatures, but we're much more than that. DocuSign provides businesses visibility into the entire document management process, from sending a document for signature, collecting information on that document, automatic routing of that document to multiple signers and reviewers, and storage of the completed document, which could include routing to other systems of reference like Salesforce. Typical organizations today have disjointed systems in place, manual processes, and offer poor customer experiences. DocuSign can help repair these disconnected systems by creating a digital link between all groups, departments, and people involved in your day-to-day business processes. DocuSign allows you to keep your transactions 100% digital and eliminate paper from all aspects of your business. You can also integrate DocuSign into existing systems like Salesforce, which would allow you to streamline your processes even more. The cost of doing nothing is greater now than ever, and companies estimate that up to 15% of revenue is left on the table each year due to inefficient digital transactions. Now you might be asking, why DocuSign for Salesforce? Just to explain a few of the benefits that you can see here, you can send documents for signature with the click of a button. You can reduce manual data entry with two-way data flow, which enables you to pre-populate fields and documents sent out with information in Salesforce and automatically pushes information from completed documents back into Salesforce. You can create automated workflows so that documents are automatically routed to the proper signers or reviewers. And the integration runs on the Salesforce One platform, so your team can close business from anywhere on any device. So what are some of the benefits you can expect from using DocuSign for Salesforce? Well, you can close more deals faster, since your sales reps will no longer waste time on chasing contracts. Since your team will never have to leave Salesforce to close business, you will maximize your investment in your CRM. You will reduce your operating costs by no longer printing and mailing documents, while seeing an increase in your team's productivity as well. Since you're able to pre-populate documents with information in Salesforce and update Salesforce with information from completed documents, the data in your CRM and contracts will be more accurate and up to date. And lastly, doing business with you will be easier, which will make your customers happy. Speaking of happy customers, we have over 120,000 customers today, many of which are using the DocuSign for Salesforce integration. 3 of those customers are listed here, along with the benefits they're seeing from the integration. Angie's List is saving an average of $9 per document, since they're no longer having to print, scan, fax, and mail their contracts. LinkedIn reduced their time to cash from 120 days to 30 days, which allows them to recognize revenue much earlier. DocuSign is also exclusively used by Salesforce. Over 3,000 Salesforce reps use DocuSign on a daily basis, and they have seen that 90% of all sales contracts sent through DocuSign are returned within 1 day, and 71% are returned within 1 hour. Now I'd like to introduce Harel Shaked, who is a technical project manager at Outbrain, and he manages their DocuSign for Salesforce instance. Harel, can you give us a brief overview of how Outbrain is using DocuSign today?
Sure. Thanks, Ashley. Hi, everyone. My name is Harel Shaked, and I'm a technical project manager at Outbrain. For anyone who isn't familiar with Outbrain, we are the world's largest content discovery platform bringing personalized and relevant online content to audiences while helping publishers understand their audiences through data. So as for your question, Ashley, the way we work today is very different from how we worked in the past. Before DocuSign, our reps would use a template, sometimes saved locally on their machine, so it wasn't always the most updated one. They would type in the data manually to enter the contract information, and you can imagine that there might be some typos and errors. Contracts used to save in all kinds of places instead of one centralized place for all the signed documents. It was hard to track between different needs across the regions. Reps had to get out their chair in order to scan, to print, to fax, or even send ground contracts for signature. And all these would take several days to get a contract signed. The way we work today is totally different. Today we launch DocuSign through Salesforce from a button directly from the opportunity. The right template will always fetched. Opportunity information is automatically populated into the document that you are about to send. You send the document for signature with a click of a button directly from your seat. And eventually you can get the signed contract within minutes. And basically within minutes you can have a closed won deal.
Great, thank you for that. How did you guys decide on using DocuSign for Salesforce at Outbrain?
Well, we checked several tools, and we were even using a certain e-sign tool, but we needed more than just a signature. We needed a solution that allows one structured process. This process would include fast and easy way to send contracts. You were aiming to reduce the processing time. We want to eliminate human errors and mistakes, and basically have one centralized repository and backup for all the signed contracts. And it was DocuSign who answered all these needs.
Perfect. And what value have you seen from adding DocuSign for Salesforce?
The first value is that we remain in Salesforce where everything happens. So this is our goal. We want our sales reps to stay in Salesforce. We wouldn't want them to go and start launching any other application. So the fact that you stay in Salesforce and from Salesforce initiate DocuSign, that's a great value. It was also natural for us to have DocuSign inside Salesforce where all the deals are and also all the deal details. So basically you have a full cycle of the deal, and DocuSign is part of that cycle. Signing the contract is now a click away from inside the opportunity, and also because it's on the opportunity, also the contract information is populated directly from the opportunity to the DocuSign document, so we don't have any human mistakes. The last value is that you can have the information that the customer types on the contract or on the DocuSign contract populated or nurtured Salesforce back, so you can always make sure that you have the most updated information also in Salesforce.
Great. In terms of the implementation process, how did that go in terms of implementing DocuSign for Salesforce?
So the implementation was pretty easy. You guys have great manuals, and the support team was on our side to answer any question that we had. The only thing that was time-consuming was actually to come up with the internal processes and templates that we wanted to put in place. Engagement was also very easy because the way we deployed DocuSign in Salesforce was that it automatically fetched the right document, fetched the right signing cycle. So eventually, the only thing the reps need to do is clicking on a button. So immediately as the reps noticed the great value and how easy it is, they started using the DocuSign immediately. So the engagement was also very quick.
Great. We love to hear that. Was there any unexpected value of adding DocuSign to Salesforce?
We were originally implemented DocuSign only to serve the sales organization, but I guess with time, other teams learned the great features that DocuSign has to offer. So we started getting more and more requests from other departments to use DocuSign. We have today HR signing all kinds of NDA and benefits. We have the legal signing all kinds of agreements, even the finance signing invoices. So I guess that was something that we didn't expect, which is actually a very nice surprise.
Perfect. And you've mentioned a few features of the DocuSign for Salesforce integration, but what is your personal favorite feature?
So I think the most favorite feature is the fact that the integration with Salesforce or Salesforce itself that treats DocuSign as any Salesforce object. So basically, thanks to that, you can create all kinds of customized Salesforce buttons that launches DocuSign. You can customize the button itself to trigger all kinds of conditions like which template to fetch, what should be the signing cycle, and also the fact that Salesforce treats DocuSign as any Salesforce object. You are also able to nurture Salesforce back with values that come from DocuSign. So I guess I would say that the fact that Salesforce treats DocuSign as any custom object, that's a great value, and I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Is DocuSign integrated with any other applications that you guys have besides Salesforce?
Actually, yes. Lately, we have integrated DocuSign with Box that allows automatic archiving of documents. It also allows segregation between different teams and documents, so you can choose which team's documents are saved in each or in which Box folder. You can also send documents directly from the Box, from the Box folder, and once the contract is signed or once the document is signed, it will be saved back in that Box folder. So that's a great value that we see in the integration to Box. And these days, we're also working on having a single sign-on, DocuSign single sign-on with Okta, that should allow smoother access for the users who aren't using DocuSign for Salesforce and actually need to log in DocuSign interactively.
Great. You mentioned Okta and obviously making it ease of use for your employees. Do your new employees need any special training when it comes to DocuSign?
So like I said before, because the way we integrated DocuSign with Salesforce, we made everything very transparent to them. So the only thing we need to guide them is to just do double check and make sure that the information from the opportunity is really populating properly into DocuSign. In 100% of the cases, it's always true. So we just double check or triple check to make sure that the data is populated properly and just click send. So I would say there isn't really any training that needs to take place for new employees. It's just clicking send, so very straightforward.
Great. And since we're on the topic of training, I do have a question from the audience that was just pertaining to training your offices overseas. You mentioned that it was a fairly easy training process, but does that stand true for your offices around the world as well?
Definitely. As the admin, I'm the one who implement the documents or the templates and what should be the signing routing. So I'm the one in the background who creates the send button from Salesforce, and you can just decide exactly what you want or how you want to send the document. So it doesn't matter. It stays the same for all regions. The only thing they need to do, whether if it's in Japan or in the US, they just need to click the send button or the send contract button. That's it. The work is on the administrator.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So what is next for Outbrain and DocuSign?
So we would like to incorporate DocuSign in more and more Salesforce processes. We're doing that in these days. And another thing is to continue and leverage internal use of DocuSign internally. For example, to have employees sign their performance reviews through DocuSign. That could save lots of time and paperwork. So these are my next projects.
That sounds great. Well, thanks so much, Harel. I do have a couple of other questions for you from the audience. Hopefully we have a couple minutes to answer those. But one of them is if you could talk a little bit about how DocuSign fits into your overall growth plans from an operational perspective. Like, is DocuSign heavily involved in those discussions?
Yes, because eventually, because we see the value also in other areas. So we can't just talk about the growth in the sales organization. We also need to talk about the growth in HR, the growth in finance, and more and more teams are starting to use DocuSign. So we try to map the teams that are currently using DocuSign and also the potential use of DocuSign in the company. And that has to correlate with, for example, the 2016 headcount. So yes, definitely, we think about which more teams are going to use it. We talk to you guys to talk about licenses and seats and see how it can fit the corporate growth.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Another question that somebody asked was if you've gotten any customer feedback since you implemented DocuSign. So if your customers have had any feedback for you on it.
So I think the strongest feedback is how fast we get the contract signed. In some cases, before DocuSign, it could take days because some customers decided that they prefer to send us the signed document through ground mail. The fact that they can sit on their computer or from their mobile, sign the contract, and the fact that we have it signed sometimes within minutes if everyone is online, I think that's the strongest value or the strongest feedback that we get, the fastest way to sign this contract, or the growth of signed documents with such a short time period. I would say that's the strongest feedback.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Harel. So a couple of other questions we had was, one of them was, does DocuSign store my documents? And the answer to that question is yes. DocuSign will store your documents as long as you're a DocuSign customer, and even a little bit after that as well. It does come with your account, so we are basically considered a document repository as well as a full transaction management solution. Another one of the questions that we had was if we could integrate DocuSign with other systems. The answer to that is obviously yes as well. I know that Harel touched on that, such as our integration with Box and Okta. We also integrate with a lot of different Microsoft products and others as well. But if you have any other questions about specific ones, you can definitely reach out to anybody here at DocuSign. And then the other question that we had was the kind of training that we provide to our customers. So that is actually that we do provide training and onboarding as well as support to any new customers that come on to DocuSign. So we actually have onboarding success consultants that work to implement either DocuSign or DocuSign for Salesforce. If you are implementing DocuSign for Salesforce, we actually partner with Accenture, who does all of our DocuSign for Salesforce implementations, and then we do in-house training as well for DocuSign implementations. And then you also have access to our training teams, which are typically located in Seattle. And then, okay, another question is, in electronic signing, how do I know the person signing the document is the same as the person on the signature? And that's obviously based on our the legality of DocuSign. So the standard way of authentication is email. So anytime that somebody sends a document for signature through DocuSign, we authenticate based on email. But we also have other forms of authentication as well, like access codes, SMS codes, and knowledge-based authentication. So you are able to tell who the signer is, and also a full audit trail comes with each document that is signed. So each document that signs comes with a certificate of completion that will show timestamps, all the signatures involved in a contract, as well as IP addresses and locations of signers. So it just basically reinforces the legality of the document. Okay, the next question is, I think that's for Harel. So with offices globally, Harel, have you seen a benefit in admin control by implementing DocuSign?
What does it mean, admin controls?
I think being able to have control, people who have access to maybe your systems, I want to say, just kind of controlling users.
So the way we implemented DocuSign for Salesforce is for every region we have a certain layout. For each layout, we have a designated button that triggers DocuSign, and on that button we put all kind of conditions, what would be the routing, which template would be fetched. People in Japan, for example, will use the Japan layout, and they will not be able to use any other layout. So that way we make sure that it's always designed to each location. That way we control everything we want. It could be the routing, it could be the template. So this is how we implemented it across regions. So yes, I would say that as an admin, the fact that I have a segregation between regions, it allows me better control.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, and I guess one of the last questions will be, can you send documents from a mobile device? And the answer is yes. I did touch a little bit on the fact that DocuSign is available on the Salesforce One platform. So whether you're using DocuSign for Salesforce or just DocuSign on its own, you are able to send from your mobile device as well as sign. So you are able to send, and your signers can sign from a mobile device or a tablet as well. If there are any other questions, you can definitely submit those via the Q&A box in the lower right-hand corner. But I think that might be it.
Thank you again, Ashley and Harel.